What is up, team? Welcome back to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast. It's been a while. 18 days since our last game. Don't want to talk about that one. That's the first one I missed. I got to apologize. Maybe I brought the bad luck. I missed the second half of that game, and when I found out the score, it wasn't worth talking about it. All right, we know how that went. But tonight, a whole new year, 2022, St. John's is 1-0. And 1-0 in the Big East. They get an 89-84 win over DePaul. All right, the one team you cannot afford to lose to at home. And we did not make it easy. We had a few opportunities to perhaps close them out early on and then definitely late, and we let them hang around. But eventually we got the job done. And you're not going to see me being upset with a Big East win. Okay? We've seen way too many losses, especially early in the season, get ourselves, 1 foot stuck in the mud and then playing catch up the rest of the year. And today we figured out a way to do it, and we got to win. And much of the reason why we were able to do that is because of the play of Julian Champagny. Okay, 34 points, 16 rebounds, both career highs. He was 4 for 7 from 3, 12 for 22 overall, and that's with a missed wide open finger roll in the first half. All right, Julian, what are you doing, man? Come on, man. I'm obviously kidding around. Is there such thing as a quiet 34 and 16? Because that was just efficient, workmanlike. Aside from that monster dunk, it was almost kind of ho-hum, just kind of getting the job done. And we're going to need him to do a lot more of that. Obviously you can't expect 34 and 16 on any night, but him carrying a load offensively the rest of the way. And he is, I think, the best player in the Big East, especially offensively. And for being such an offensive stud, he's a hell of a defensive player. I don't mean that he's not a good defensive player. He's a really good defensive player. He made some awesome plays like he usually does around the basket, standing up tall, arms straight up in the air, and just forcing tough shots. And he's a monster rebounder. There's probably a few guys who are just strictly more defensive guys. But he's a fantastic all-around player, and this is a huge step in what will be, a long season-long campaign for him to be the Big East Player of the Year. But we get 1-0, and it's almost a clean slate, a fresh start. We did not play particularly well. There's a slew of things that need to be shored up. Defensive lapses all throughout the game. We could list them, and we could take a while doing it. But there's a lot that contributes to rust, all right? The 18-day layoff is not just a game layoff. We didn't have a full team to practice. Who knows what we had in between? It was finals week, then it was break, then people are sick, then guys are injured. Coaches, who knows? So you have workouts, you do as much as you can, you cobble it together. Not to make excuses, other teams are going through similar situations. But we definitely weren't crisp. But we saw that on the defensive end. We saw that on the offensive end. I don't know what we finished in the paint or on layups overall, but in the first half, we saw that 3 for 17 or 2 for 18 number, whatever it is. It's atrocious. And, it was believable watching it. I don't want to consider those all layups. Some of those were contested, but you gotta find a way to finish them. The refs were letting guys play at the rim, I thought, which was nice to see both ways. There were some, calls I thought, and not favoring either team, but some of those calls are just, you got to call them both ways. The push-offs, they didn't call for Wasu late. They were calling them on a few consecutive plays. But hey, whatever. Some other numbers, Wasu did finish with 17 points and 8 assists. That's a great stat line. I don't think in the first half, especially, he played his best game. He missed some chippies. He had some defensive lapses. That's my guy. I get that big 3 late, big shot. Wasn't particularly the best look we could have got, but he's a guy late in game situations where I think we want the ball in his hands because he can find Champagny. He can look to score himself, and he can find other guys. But 17 and 8 is a big time stat line. Continues to have a really solid sophomore year, making that jump. Posh started off the second half back in the starting lineup, had a couple quick threes and a nice basket. He had 16 points overall, 4 assists, made a couple nice defensive plays. He's all over the place on the court. He was only 6 for 15 from the field, struggled in the paint tonight, but he's been so good from inside the arc so far this season that, you expect him to come back down to earth a little bit. Wheeler started, had a couple nice things early on, hit a 3, had an offensive rebound or 2, but as the game went on, the lapses kind of outshined what he brought positively in my mind. He had one big turnover in the second half where we were just starting to get momentum, let DePaul back in the game. Defensive laps, guy went back door on him. I prefer Wheeler's energy and his toughness. I'm sorry, I prefer Stanley's energy and toughness to Wheeler. Not to say that Stanley is a complete player in his own right. Obviously, he's got a lot to learn, a long way to go. He's a freshman, but he plays tough, plays physical, and he's giving it his all. And he's not gonna confuse anybody or try to convince anybody that he's a perimeter player. He's gonna stick around the paint and do the dirty work that he's asked to do. Soriano had some good minutes in the first half. Offensively, he had a couple dunks. He did grab 9 rebounds. We didn't see much of him in the stretch, down the stretch. Defensively, he struggles moving his feet as well as other guys, and that's no secret. I do think, a lot of it can be attributed to just him being confident and relaxed and, comfortable out there. I don't think he's got the slowest feet in the world. I think sometimes it's just the first step is a step behind instinctually. He's second guessing himself. And that's a lot to do with just him not, being as comfortable as he was last year in the A10. Hopefully that comes with time. He's got size, he's got hands, he's got, some capable things to do. A couple of nice passes, kickouts tonight. So hopefully that's a step in the right direction. We're going to need him in Big East play. We know that. Mathis did some nice things. He did foul out, had a couple key baskets in the second half on finishes. He's a guy who, in the half court needs some help getting set up, but on the break, he's money. Defensively, does some good things. Had a couple nice help defensive plays on blocks. Pretty good game overall from Mathis. And why we played all right with him in the second half. There was a stretch where he came in and was a spark on defense, had a couple nice blocks, provided some energy. Didn't really have much production out there, but I remember specifically him being out there during a nice stretch in the second half. Stanley had 2 points in a big basket late, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. And Posh off the bench, 16 points. Defensively, I thought was really the big weakness. The shooting inside is one thing. Guys are rusty. Guys are going to make shots. I don't know who you blame, the players, the coach. I don't think you can blame any of them for such an atrocious night like that. I think it's just a culmination of things. But the defense, the rust is one thing. But a lot of these guys, Wusu especially, my man was responsible for a lot of defensive lapses in the second half. Wheeler, a fifth-year guy, a senior, it might be a new system, but still getting beat back door, that's unacceptable. So a lot of that stuff, whether it's the coach or the players, this is Big East play, and you can't, use a layoff as an excuse for mental lapses, okay? Physical rust, perhaps, but mental lapses, we're past that. This is the big leagues. But nonetheless, a big win, a step in the right direction, perhaps confidence-wise. We found our groove. It would have been, we could have played better and lost this game, and would we feel better? Probably not. So I'll take the win, playing as we did, knowing we get that chip in our pocket no matter what it is. It's going to look like a win. Come our next game, we get to play Providence, who has been red hot this season, but coming off a drumming, an absolute beatdown from Marquette. And that just tells you what the Big East is like. So I will say Providence probably gets the benefit of prepping for Marquette, who plays similarly to us in terms of pressure defense. So they might have a leg up in terms of their prep work. They didn't handle it well against Marquette, but still, that's not coming out of nowhere. I think they are down Reeves, who has killed us in the past. So hopefully Soriano can help us mitigate the advantage that Watson has presented us in the past, and we'll be able to sneak away with a nice road win at Providence. Getting to 2-0 would be a big step in the right direction. Let's see what else. It's so confusing thinking about how the schedule plays out from this point forward, not knowing exactly where we're at. So at Providence, and then we would go at UConn. All right, so that northeast swing right there. You get that Providence win. All right, anything can happen. They're still going to be ranked as the 16th team in the country. So I'll drop a little bit after the rankings come out with that Marquette loss, but it's still going to look like we're playing a top 20 team when people are tuning in on Saturday, and that's a chance to, turn some heads and get a big time win and start 2-0. And then you're playing with house money at UConn. All right, then the schedule turns around a little bit without looking too far ahead. You get home Georgetown, which is another game similar to DePaul where you really got to come away with a win. Steve Lavin knows a little bit about coming away with wins at Georgetown late in the season, or maybe I'm thinking that was an MSG game when they sealed it late. But he also knows a little bit of things about getting beat bad at Georgetown. So, sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to rig you into this. Well, guys, I just want to say it's good to be back. It's good to be 1-0. It's good to have, positive vibes moving forward. Let's try to be confident. Let's try to be positive. Let's try to put that preseason in the rear view, because there's nothing we can do about it now. All right. When I say preseason, I mean pre-conference season. All right. As long as we do what we're supposed to do in the Big East slate, then we'll be all right. Okay. This is only a quad 3 win in terms of the net, but hopefully DePaul from this point forward picks up some big wins, and hopefully we do what we're supposed to do against the quad 1 and quad 2 opponents we've got coming up on the slate. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Please review, subscribe, leave a present on your neighbor's doorstep. Do all the things you're supposed to do, and I will see you next time. For Malik Sealy, this has been Pat Kane. Happy birthday, Lou Carnesecca. Peace.